Most people are broke, overweight, and unhappy, but we still treat their approach as the gold standard, as one investor coach notes. This is the biggest lie in investing, that following the crowd will lead to financial freedom. I'm about to share 9 brutal truths that most people never hear about money and investing. These insights come from studying what actually separates wealthy investors from everyone else. Here's something to consider. In 3 generations, no one will remember the safe choices you made, but the bold moves you make today could change everything. These truths are designed to make you uncomfortable enough to finally take action, because the decisions you make about money aren't just about you. They're about creating legacy wealth for your family. Most investors make their biggest financial decisions based on what their family thinks. They skip the rental property because their spouse thinks it's too risky. They avoid cryptocurrency because their neighbor said it's a scam. They stick with low-return mutual funds because their parents told them to play it safe. Here's a question for you. What was your great-great-grandfather's biggest regret? You probably can't even remember his name. That's the point. In 3 generations, no one will remember you either. They won't remember the safe choices you made, perhaps to impress people who are already forgotten. I know a family member who passed up buying many rental properties throughout the decades because he always thought real estate was overpriced. Those same properties are now worth double what they were, and today, he still complains about money. The investor is still waiting for the perfect moment that will never come. Another investor I followed started a business in the 90s, ignoring the market conditions and what everyone said. At the time, the market was in terrible shape. After working really hard for about 15 years, a hedge fund purchased it for $10 million. The only person whose opinion matters in your investment journey is you. Everyone else is temporary noise. Bold investment moves require ignoring the crowd's approval. Here are the numbers that should scare you. The average working Canadian has less than $20,000 in their bank account, according to Statistic Canada. 85% of people live paycheck to paycheck, says Ontario Housing Market. Most adults are overweight and report being unhappy with their lives. These are the same people giving you investment advice. Your coworker who tells you real estate is too risky rents his apartment and has $500 in his checking account. Your brother-in-law, who might say crypto is a scam, works a job he hates and complains about money every family dinner. Your neighbor who warns you about stock market crashes has never owned a single share. After studying many financial people, most investment advice comes from people who have never achieved financial freedom. They repeat what they heard from other broke people, follow mainstream financial advice, and you get mainstream results. Mainstream results mean staying broke. Conventional wisdom tells you to save money in a savings account earning 0.01% while inflation runs at 3%. It tells you to max out your RRSP or TFSA and hope it grows over 30 years. It tells you to avoid debt even when that debt could buy cash-flowing assets. The majority's path is designed for average outcomes. If you want different results, you need different strategies. Unique thinking is the only route to achieving unique wealth. Everyone else is using the same playbook that keeps them trapped in mediocrity. Only take advice from people that have done what you are trying to do. Most people choose safety over opportunity in their investment decisions. They keep money in savings accounts earning 0.01% interest. They avoid real estate because it seems risky. They stick with their employer's pension plan even when it charges high fees and offers limited options. Playing it safe might actually be the riskiest strategy of all. When inflation runs at 3% and your savings account pays 0.01%, you lose 2.9% of your purchasing power every year. That safe money becomes worthless over time. For example, an investor who kept $100,000 in savings for 5 years while his friend bought rental properties. The cash lost $15,000 in purchasing power due to inflation. The friend's properties doubled in value and generated $2,000 monthly cash flow. The safe choice cost him over $200,000 in missed wealth. Another chose bonds over stocks because bonds felt safer. Over 20 years, the bond investor made 4% annually, while the stock investor made 10%. The difference was $400,000 on a $50,000 investment. I've personally failed in several investments. The first one I lost $2,000. I've identified my mistake, learned from it, and made so much more afterwards. Today, I still make mistakes, but I have the courage to identify the problem, address it, and ensure I won't make them again in the future. Fail and learn creates more wealth than the illusion of safety ever could. Every successful investor has failed multiple times. Each failure teaches lessons that safe investments never provide. When you embrace failure as education, you develop the skills to spot better opportunities. You learn to recover faster and make smarter decisions. Every unmade investment decision becomes a mental burden that weighs you down. You see a rental property for sale and spend 3 weeks thinking about it. You research a stock for months but never buy it. You consider starting a business but keep putting off the decision. Each unmade choice sits in your mind, taking up space. A mentor I know calls every unmade decision an anxiety cost. Every second, that mental energy could have been used to take action instead. The stress of indecision slows down your wealth building and creates mental burden that follows you everywhere. Imagine 3 buyers swoop in while you're still deciding on that perfect duplex. Another investor researched a growth stock for 2 years before buying. By the time he acted, he'd missed the biggest gains. Here's a simple framework. Set a decision deadline of 1 week maximum for any investment choice. Limit your analysis to the top 3 metrics: cash flow, growth potential, and alignment with your goals. Then decide. Commitment means eliminating alternatives completely. What decision are you delaying right now? Because here's what most people don't realize about the real reason they avoid making bold investment moves. The real obstacle isn't financial risk at all. Some investors avoid certain strategies not because they're truly risky, but because of what others might think. Investors skip cryptocurrency because they fear being labeled gamblers by their parents. They avoid real estate because their friends say it's too much work. They stick with mutual funds because that's what everyone at their office does. The fear of looking foolish prevents more wealth building than actual financial risk. You're not afraid of failing, but instead, you may be afraid of what other people will think of you if you fail, especially if you're a younger investor. This fear traps investors in conventional, low-return strategies that never build real wealth. Social judgment keeps people in savings accounts earning minimal interest, while inflation eats their purchasing power. It keeps them away from stocks that could double their money. It prevents them from starting businesses that could change their lives. The first step to financial freedom is auditing whose opinions control your investment decisions. List 5 people whose opinions you chase. Are they wealthy? If not, why give them veto power over your financial future? Most of the time, the people whose approval you seek most are not where you want to be financially. Here's what happens when you let fear of judgment control your money decisions. You end up trapped in situations that feel acceptable but never lead anywhere meaningful. This trap has a name: the region beta paradox. An expert says if it's under a mile you walk, over a mile you drive, so you cover 2 miles faster than 1. People take action when things get bad enough, but they stay stuck when things are just okay. Comfortable financial situations prevent people from building real wealth. You keep the job that pays decent money but offers no growth. You stay with the financial advisor who gets average returns. You hold on to investments that barely beat inflation. These okay situations feel safe, but they trap you in mediocrity. A mentor knew an investor earning 4% who clung to safe bonds until he realized being slightly comfortable could have earned him 10% in stocks. He complained about his results, but never took action to improve them. The comfort zone became his prison. Other investors made dramatic moves because their situation was unbearable. They quit jobs they hated and started businesses. They sold underperforming properties and bought better ones. They fired advisors who were not helping them grow wealth. You need to disrupt your own financial complacency before life forces you to act. Set higher standards for your investments. Leave situations that are just okay. Create urgency when none exists. The comfortable zone is often the riskiest place to stay. How much longer will you stay comfortable before the market shifts against you? Because sometimes the biggest obstacle isn't your situation, it's the conversations you refuse to have about it. There are specific conversations that investors avoid that keep them trapped in poor financial situations. You stay with the financial advisor who gets you 4% returns when the market does 10%. You keep the business partner who does not pull their weight. You avoid telling your spouse that their spending habits are destroying your investment plans. Avoiding these difficult discussions costs years of progress. You lose money every month your underperforming advisor manages your portfolio. You miss opportunities while your lazy partner holds back the business. Your financial goals slip further away while family spending goes unchecked. The real cost of avoiding conversations about money, goals, and expectations compounds over time. Each month you delay costs you more than the month before. The problems get bigger while your financial situation gets worse. The life you want financially is on the other side of a few uncomfortable conversations. Here's the framework to make these decisions easier. Ask yourself, which regret can you live with? The regret of having the conversation or the regret of staying stuck for another year? Financial struggles can either motivate investors or paralyze them. You can choose to use money problems as fuel or let them become excuses. This choice determines everything that happens next in your financial life. The same financial pain creates different outcomes for different people. Some investors use their worst moments as turning points. Others let the pain consume them and give up completely. The hero uses pain as a weapon to drive action. The villain becomes the wound and stops trying. Most successful investors link their actions directly to their survival instincts. They use fear as a driving force instead of letting it stop them. The fear of staying broke becomes more powerful than the fear of taking risks. In other words, transform your fear and use it as motivation. Write down your biggest financial pain right now. Ask yourself how you can use this pain to drive action instead of excuses. Turn that pain into your weapon. You want to prove wrong those who doubted your investment decisions. Your family said real estate was too risky. Your friends laughed when you started investing in stocks. Your coworkers thought you were crazy to quit your job and start a business. Now you want to show them they were wrong. Seeking validation or revenge can distract from actual wealth building. You spend time arguing with people instead of finding better investments. You make decisions to prove points rather than make money. You do not need to say anything. Your results make the argument better than words ever could. A mentor I know investors who focused on results rather than proving points. They bought rental properties while others complained about the housing market. They invested in index funds while others worried about market crashes. They started businesses while others made excuses. These investors now have millions in assets. The people who doubted them are still broke. Your investment returns speak louder than any argument ever could. The biggest achievers tie their motivation directly to their survival instinct. They use doubt as fuel to build wealth faster. Confidence in investing comes from taking action, not from reading more books or watching more videos. You can watch 1,000 hours of investment content and still be broke. Action creates the results you want. Knowledge without implementation is worthless. Pick one truth from this video and act on it today. Make that hard conversation you have been avoiding. Leave the comfortable situation that traps you. Start the investment strategy you have been researching for months. You already have everything you need to start building wealth. The information exists. The opportunities are available. The only thing missing is your decision to act on what you know. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to watch my next video on how to build wealth with no experience in 10 easy steps.